del desarrollo, con especial atención a la inversión extranjera directa de China y a las características de las empresas que participan en el comercio global. Ha publicado numerosos artículos en revistas académicas, tanto en China como en el extranjero, y ha dirigido proyectos de investigación para gobiernos y organizaciones sin fines de lucro, aportando soluciones y evidencias para problemas sociales y de política pública.
I feel sorry because I don't speak Spanish, because my topic is actually more from the China's perspective instead of the Latin American perspective. It's a joint work with my co-author, Zhou Yu from Shanghai, New York University. So we actually are looking at something maybe interesting for most developing countries. So why China actually developed so super fast, especially when we are looking at relatively more decentralized economic parties, so smaller economic units happening in China, which is actually the county level. We call that counties or county level cities, okay? Here, I thought. Okay, so I have 20 minutes. So therefore, I'm going to give a quick introduction. So why my co-author and I would like to start this project, and why it's not only about China, but also about many like the global South countries' potential economic paths. The second part, I'm going to discuss 4 cases from China. Given I have only 20 minutes, I will pick 2 that probably will be more related to the Latin American situation, so as well as the Argentina situation. So there are 4 different economic development paths because China has about like 30,000 counties. And among those 30,000 counties, we pick about like 20 to do research on them. We did a lot of survey and we searched their like old data, and especially after like the reform opening up in 1978. And we actually can aggregate there are actually basically four types of role models that make those counties actually develop very fast. And the last part will be my conclusion. And well, so the motivation is actually very simple. So we want to actually highlight that China's rapid transformation from a domestic focused economy to a global powerhouse. And the idea over here is we are not looking at the provincial level like economic development, which is heavily affected by the central government decision, because the Chinese economic system is more like a top-down system. So the central policy has a very strong impact on local policy. But this trend typically will directly affect the provincial level. And each province will pick the best cities to develop, for example, their capital city for each province. If you've been to China, the example would be Nanjing in Jiangsu province. And also Shanghai would be a provincial level city. So those are actually heavily affected by the central government policy. But when it comes to a smaller unit of the economic players in Chinese economy as county, so China has 30,000 counties. So therefore, the central government's impact, so direct impact will be relatively not that important. It's important, but not that strong when it reaches to smaller units of county. So we are actually looking at how those counties actively make use of the policy from the central government. It's actually not central government order or command them to do something, but they actually make use of the reform, the opening up from the central policy to develop by themselves. So we're trying to explore the interplay between state-led reforms and market-driven globalization. And China's county-level growth offers lessons for global South countries, for Southeast Asian countries, and potentially also for Latin American countries as well. So this is actually the reason we want to start this research project. There is actually a large amount of literature review on whether industrial policy would actually have effect or not. And what's interesting over here is Luhas, Lane, and Roderick 2023 actually has a aggregation of all type of the industrial policy. So there are positive views and negative views on industrial policy. And what's interesting from their finding is, first of all, most of the industry policy actually work. So it's working in a relatively positive way, which is quite different from what most economists would believe that free markets may be the best outcome. And the second is they find that advanced economies applied industrial policy more often and more successful than developing countries. Therefore, they're coming back a set of research talking about whether the government policy can help the process for developing countries to fasten their developing speed. So China's economic development policy is also being discussed a lot. So there are actually the Norton and the Vogel book is talking about the reform and opening up. So when 2013 is talking about special economic zone policy starting from early 1980 and expanded significantly to 2006. And this special economic zone is trying to attract foreign direct investments. And which is true is foreign direct investment coming to China, those multinational firms' behavior in China did help the China to further advance the technology and also moved from the limited manufacturing to like the primary manufacturing to advanced manufacturing and services in the global value chain. And the recent studies also looking at individual county study. The couple of examples over here would be Yiwu and Kunshan. Both Yiwu and Kunshan are in my slides. I think that you guys have my slides. But we're going to only discuss Kunshan. And we're also going to discuss another example, which is Anxi, which is endowed with very good like agricultural land, how they further developed. So most focus is actually on industry level studies. So basically also related to the industrial policy. So those scholars actually looking at China's fast development in wind and solar policy, industries, electric vehicles, right? So if you've been to China, you see that the electric vehicles is more like a electric appliances instead of a vehicle. So they also looking at the Made in China 2005, those high-tech industry, shipbuilding industry, and semiconductor industry. Especially the semiconductor industry after China and the US has this, US actually started a tech war against China. And our research actually looking at 3 dimensions of the county level economic development. The first one is the policy-driven versus market orientation. So most of the researchers actually believe, even Chinese researchers believe that like the central policy is actually the major driving forces for the rapid growth for China. I believe this is actually true for many provinces and also the like provincial level bigger cities. But the rapid growth of counties actually also stem from their strong like market-driven openings. So many of their they actually trying to grab every possible chance through the process of China's like marketization. The second dimension is we're going to looking at whether a county developed from the existing industrial chain, or they actually just completely like created a new industry. So what's interesting over here is some countries actually adopt what we call the historical path. So some of the countries have very good like natural resources at the very beginning. So they actually followed their what we call in the trade or in economics, their comparative advantage or their advantage to develop. But some countries grow almost from nothing. So it's just a sudden chance they grab a new industry and they try to expand it very quickly. And the last is so China is actually the global production hub for the whole world. we're looking at whether it's the domestic market or the foreign market, the main driving forces for the faster economic development for those counties. And we actually have a couple of counties very interesting. For example, the Kashmir, there's one county really good at like Kashmir producing and provided like more than 60% of the China's local Kashmir and 40% of the like the whole world Kashmir. Like, so this is actually, it's just from a small county. So therefore you see that the domestic market plays an important role. And was trying to join WTO in 2001 when we actually completely realized we want to actually open our economy to the rest of the world. And the foreign market gradually getting important. And our analysis actually show that with the fast economic development, starting from 2013 on, so from 2010 on, so China's local market become relatively more important again. So it's actually driven by the local market and benefited from the global market. And now the local market importance actually gradually increased in the past 10 to 15 years. Okay, so we have 4 cases. If you're interested in, you can actually read my post. But given the time, we're going to discuss 2. One is Anxi, the other is Kunshan. I think this is also related to more related to most Latin American countries and Argentina as well. Okay, so Anxi is actually a very good example for the expansion of the existing industry. So if you're looking at the location, Anxi is actually located in the southeastern part of the Fujian province. So it's located in the southeastern part of Fujian province. It's a county at the intersection of Minnan, Xiamen, Zhangzhou, and Quanzhou. So Xiamen, Zhangzhou, Quanzhou, they're both really great, like prefecture level cities. But if you guys are familiar with the economic development theory, is if any places, any city or county or village or town located on the boundary of different, so it's a boundary county, so you're actually getting less development. The main reason is like the city doesn't have too much incentive to invest in the border county because they're going to generate like positive externality to other counties. But their location is good. The only problem is the local government. Okay, their provincial level government or city level government has not that much incentive to really invest in them. But Anxi is recognized the birthplace of Chinese oolong tea. So global renowned for Tieguanyin variety. So Anxi actually started with the tea industry train, and from the very beginning, it's just agriculture, so it's cultivation. And very soon, it actually become processing tea, and today it's actually expanding the completely, we call that the tea value chain, including tea-related tourism in the service sector. So if you're looking at that, so 1980 is basically agricultural economy. And the local production tea is just for local use. But in 1980s, with the reform and opening up, policy shifted towards policy shifts, and with the early day of modernization, their tea production is actually getting bigger, and they quickly improve their processing techniques. So 1990s, with the privatization and expansion of the traditional industry, so the tea industry began a period of sustained growth. So now they actually change from the quantity expansion to the quality. So they actually create standard for different type of oolong tea quality. And in 2000, when China joined WTO, and she actually become the tea trading center. They not only producing tea, cultivates, processing, they also become a center for the tea international trading. They become the tea international trading center, and they actually also try to create their own brand. And in 2010s, you see that with the digitalization, so China has very fancy e-shopping platform. So with the digitalization, so this tea industry actually gradually coming back to focus in the local market as well. The main reason is with the internet, with the e-commerce, so it can be shipped very quickly within China. Their brand gets also popular in China. So this is actually the fast economic development for this county. It's in billion RMB, and the tea-related output actually exceeded 36 billion RMB in 2023. They also have some traditional industry as well. So see that for this county, we actually realize it's actually policy guidance plus market driven. So, but policy is just a guide for them to development. Main reason is they actually take advantage of their own endowment and they actually developed super fast with the globalization process. And it's actually existing industry development then it's actually getting expanded. And nowadays, they also come to some high-tech industry as well because the local market has enough investments. And whether they actually, so in 1980s, it mostly focused on domestic market. And soon, it actually get into very important, like foreign markets actually outpaced the domestic market importance. And starting from 2010s, we call that a dual circulation in China. So the foreign market, the global market, is the same as the domestic market. So the mass market importance actually increased again. So this chart is actually showing that 1980 we only have domestic market. 1990 and 2000 it go to the global market because the domestic demand is relatively small. The global market gets more important, and in 2010 the domestic market also expanded. So this is actually a very good, I think it actually illustrated a domestic market versus global market developments for many East Asian countries, including China, South Korea, and Japan. So the development path is actually what we call export-oriented industrialization. And quickly will actually come back to when the domestic market gets bigger enough, you'll actually come back to the economic development for the domestic market. So we skip the second and the fourth example over here. And we want to looking at the Kunshan example. It's a foreign technology transfer example. So Kunshan is also, nowadays, they also say that they have really good luck because they actually next to Shanghai. I don't know how many guys have been to Shanghai, but you see that this is actually Shanghai and this is Kunshan. It's a neighboring city neighboring county of Shanghai. So we first drive through Kunshan and then we arrive Suzhou. So Kunshan is a county level city under Suzhou in Jiangsu province. It's the biggest. Its economy size is really big. But at the very beginning, next to Shanghai is it's actually a curse, right? Not a benefit. And it was actually a total agricultural economy. In 1980, they ranked number 6 in the whole Suzhou area. That means a very small county. But Kunshan government was actually smart. He actually started a special economic zone by themselves. It's not the central government actually announce them as a special economic zone like Shenzhen or Xiamen or Shanghai. As they just created a special economic zone by themselves without any direct state approval. So secretly they're doing that. They rely on Shanghai and trying to attract foreign direct investment. The first round of foreign direct investment is actually from Taiwan. And the Taiwan foreign direct investment quickly expanded the Kunshan electronic. At first, it's just electronic assembling, like Foxconn, right? Electronic product assembling industry in Kunshan. And in 1990s, since they did such a good job in attract foreign direct investment, even better than those actually official special economic zone announced by the central government. They forced central government to make Kunshan 14+1. So 14 central government special economic zone plus 1 Kunshan, because they attract way more foreign direct investment than the central government announced the special economic zone. And quickly they shift from the electronic assembling towards the high-tech expansion. So they actually they sent assembling parts of the Foxconn to Shenzhen. And you guys probably know Shenzhen now actually Foxconn moved from Shenzhen to Henan province. So the electronic sector become like international dominant. They produced over 50% of the world's laptop by the late 2000. And nowadays, starting from 2010, they actually focus on innovation and diversification. So now Kunshan is actually famous for semiconductor, artificial intelligence, and biomedicine industry, which are actually the high-tech industries. They are actually on the frontier of the technology advance for China right now. So this is actually the development path for Kunshan. You see their GDP size is actually more than 500 billion RMB. So basically a little bit like 80 to 90 billion US dollar. So it's actually it's a small county. So it's actually the biggest economy county in China. So you see, this is actually what happened. There was policy. The Kunshan development is more like foreign technology transfer. So they attract foreign direct investment, learn from them, and also this is actually a very clear idea for the foreign direct investment happening in China. Those firms, local firms, actually first emulate the technology, and then they quickly do the industry upgrading. So now they actually are much better than most of their like foreign counterparts. Okay, so that's actually two examples I'm going to discuss for our today's presentation. And then the idea over here is counties actually being like small administrative units compared to prefecture level cities in China experienced early stage development that was primarily driven by market incentives. And the government policy were implemented to help or to try to guide all those kind of county developments. So initially, the counties were focused on domestic demand. And with the China's opening up, especially after 2001, they all switched towards the global integration. And today, after 2010, this dual circulation is actually driven by market forces rather than the direct government intervention. And nowadays, that there are many innovation-driven high technology industries coupled with digital transformation of the traditional sectors, actually serving serving as the primary engine for the future developments for most counties right now. Okay, so I think I used up all my 20 minutes. So thank you very much. So if you have any questions or suggestions, you're very welcome.